Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the #1 undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
What's up, what's up, what's up? How you guys doing out there in boxing land? This is your host, Mark Roxey, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Breakdown. And today I've got two very, very special guests. I've got the regular almost. I mean, he's almost on all the episodes at this point. He joins me regular. I am super delighted that you're here today. I've got the professional boxing judge and just all around gentleman with me today, Harold Hunt. What's going on, Harold?
What's going on, Mark? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I am good, man. I've been pretty busy these last couple of weeks with all the boxing and everything that's going on. You know, COVID-19, quarantine, you know, I did, for those of you that are tuning in today, I want to welcome you and just let you know that I did have COVID-19. If you haven't listened to the last episode, and I am fully recovered, thank the Lord. Hopefully I sound a little better. What do you think, Harold?
I think you sound great.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. So I feel better, and, you know, I've got that second jolt of energy, obviously, after COVID-19, being quarantined for 16 days, stay at home for 21. I'm back to work. I'm back to boxing, back to training the amazing fighters that I have a wonderful opportunity to work with. Shout out to Indio's Boxing up in Bethlehem, PA, that they have me up there a couple of days a week working with those guys. And then I got my fighters down here that I train, and I'm just really trying to stay busy, you know, just trying to be active.
Yes.
How about you? What you up to?
Well, we've got a big month coming up, judging wise. A lot of shows are kicking back off. So there's a couple of states around, some things happening in Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama. So I may have opportunity to work. So I'm excited too.
Oh,
the COVID
yeah.
thing is something that people are starting to find a way to get around. So boxing seems to be one of those.
Oh, you got that right, man. I mean, there's been quite a lot of fights that have been happening, and a lot of things that we got to jump right on into. And
okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, so one of the things that well, why don't we just jump into? Did you get a chance to see the Showtime boxing event on Championship Boxing Saturday night?
Yes.
Oh man, now I'm so glad because that helped all you Boxing Breakdown fans out there did get a chance to see that. Absolutely outstanding 3-fight card. It was wonderful to look at. There was also a card earlier on this week on Wednesday, which was Showbox The Next Generation, and I actually was up at the Mohegan Sun for that. I had a fighter that I was working with, a team up there. And the fighter's name was Martino Jules, who was scheduled to fight an 8-round fight with Pedro Marquez from Puerto Rico. And unfortunately, that fight got derailed because of some sort of mysterious illness that Pedro Marquez came down with on the morning of the fight. And so the fight didn't go off. And that was Wednesday. Did you get a chance to see that card?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of the two fights on the card?
They were great. That draw was excellent. That was a good fight.
Yeah, it was an outstanding fight. And then of course this Saturday, that's really what I want to jump right into and talk to you a little bit about that fight. For the fans out there, I'll just lay the groundwork here. There was a couple of fights on the card, 3 to be exact. One of them was Rolando Romero. And he fought the very, very rugged and tough, amazing fighter out of Philadelphia, Avery Sparrow. And then there was Aleem, who fought a guy by the name of Victor Pasillas. And then there was another, that was at 122. And then there was another 122 bout, Stephen Fulton against Angelo Leo, which was outstanding. It was just an outstanding fight. Actually, all of them were great. So why don't we get into Rolando Romero against Avery Sparrow? What was your feeling on that fight?
Well, Sparrow was a replacement. So being a replacement fighter, he took the fight on a few days' notice or what have you. He just stepped in. He came in and he knew he didn't really have any type of workup. So he knew he had to kind of step in and go for the knockout because he couldn't really prepare for him at all. So that strategy didn't play well for him because Jimmy was fighting with 12-0, 10 knockouts. And he's a heavy puncher. And he comes forward. So that fight was kind of a walkover, if you will. Sparrow is a tough guy. However, he just got hit too many times without a true game plan other than trying to walk the guy down, which was not his forte at all. However, I was impressed with he came in there, he did the best he could, but his corner decided to stop the fight because he had a injury with his knee. But I commend him for just stepping in there on short notice like that and going for broke.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think that Rolando Romero comes from, I think he's a Mayweather fighter. He comes out of Mayweather's gym. And, this kid is rugged, man. He's just on another level, powerful. And I think you're right. First of all, the fight was taken. I think Avery Sparrow came in at 136 for the fight. And I think it was just too much without any preparation for him and any kind. My hat goes off to Avery Sparrow, man. This guy just gets into the ring. And, you call him and he takes the fight. And I really want to commend him for that because, his last fight, the last outing that Avery Sparrow had was against, what's his name? The guy who I had on the Boxing Breakdown 2 weeks ago.
I remember, and he fought well that fight. His balance was nice. His hand, he was really well prepared. He fought very well.
Well, yeah, no. He was out of shape though, Harold. I'm talking about. Oh man, I don't know why that happens to me, but it does. Too many shots, too much. Y'all know. Everybody out there that listens knows when you check out, you just check out, right? I'm talking about Abraham Supernova just came back. I'm talking about when he fought Abraham Supernova at the bubble. It was the first bubble that they had on the Top Rank card. And again, he came in last minute. He had no training prior. Everybody was in COVID. And the guy took the fight. Hats off to him. He took the fight and he lost the fight. But being out of shape and all, both of them were out of shape. But they did great. It was a great fight. But then here he comes again in the Showbox bubble. Championship Boxing, Showtime Championship Boxing on Saturday night, and with 24 hours notice, and he takes the fight. I mean, how many pugilists do you know out there that are going to do that? Tell me, Harold.
Not many. They're just not bred that way, and obviously he is.
Yeah, and I think he got dropped in the first round. He got dropped with a check hook. Mouthpiece comes flying out of his mouth, and he hits the ground. I think he's like, "Yo, I'm in deep here."
Yes.
And to your point, Avery Sparrow did an amazing job holding on as long as he could against a guy who was, I mean, I don't know what he came back in for the rehydration, but my guess is it was probably in the 70s. I don't know, man. He looked like a huge fighter. He looked so big, man. For a 136 fighter, he had to be okay, realistically, like in the 60s. The guy was powerful and big, right?
Yes, his frame was enough to carry, like you said, 160, 165. So he easily rehydrated, like you said. Pretty high.
It was interesting because Rolando Romero, in the beginning of the fight, he came in, he was just tacking, just spanking Avery Sparrow. And then, I think he goes back to the corner in the second round and maybe it might have been the third round or something, but his coaches said, just box him, just show him you can box. Don't get touched. Don't let him hit you. Just box the guy. And he did. And he ended up boxing Avery Sparrow for the rest of the fight. I do believe that the boxing allowed, kind of opened the door for Avery to stay in the fight a little longer than he may have otherwise. At least that was my impression of the fight. But, when Rolando Romero stepped into the pocket and started throwing 3s and 4 punch combinations, it was just I was very, very nervous for Avery Sparrow because, it just seemed like it was just a little bit too much. And then later on in the fight, he falls, he falls down. I think he hurts his knee.
Yeah, the knee just gave out. Yeah, the knee just gave out.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Then, he gets 2 points taken away from him later on in the fight for low blow. He gets warned for holding, he's boxing him and Romero throws a nice stiff jab. Avery clutches the jab with both of his arms, closing up his frame up at the top with a high guard. And he gets warned for holding. And I'm like, I wonder what happened prior to the, maybe at the weigh-ins or something. Did he piss somebody off? Did he piss the referee off prior to the fight? Because boy, that referee was on Avery Sparrow the entire time.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because he was suspended by the commission for 90 days due to the low blow. They said it was intentional.
Yeah.
So as you said, maybe they had something, an opinion of him before the fight.
So he's serious? He got suspended for that?
90 days.
Wow.
Intentional low blow.
How about that? One low blow, one intentional low blow in the privates, right? And he gets suspended, man. Dang. Wow. That's shocking. I didn't realize that. How'd you know that?
Just ear to the wire, just like you.
Yo, for y'all listen out there, listen, Harold's got his ear to the grindstone, man. He knows all the inside scoop. You heard it here on the Boxing Breakdown. Yo, Avery Sparrow, I'd love to have you on the program. I'm going to reach out to you and see if I can get you to come on the program and make an accounting for yourself. Talk about this stuff, man, because, first of all, I think you are a true warrior. I'm proud of you. You did a great job. Shout out Philly fighters. They come, in one way, man. They just keep going, bro. And he showed his mettle for just stepping up and taking that fight in last minute. Yeah. And I'm sure he'll have many more outings, after this. I hope it's not the last time we see Avery Sparrow, because he really is a talented fighter. And, he's one of the prides of Philadelphia for sure. So then let's move on. Let's move on here. Unless I want to get into the Aleem fight against Victor Pasillas. Hopefully I'm saying those names right. But what'd you think of that fight?
Now, that was a great fight. That was, being a judge, that was hard to to score. The best part about it was I didn't have to score it, so I could enjoy it as a fan, and I really enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah.
So the work rate from both of those guys was high, and it kind of morphed into an IQ type thing. It was good. It was really good. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah. So that Aleem, Rais Aleem is actually a King Promotions fighter, and I have to tell you that not only did he stop Pasillas, but he also gets the WBA interim 122-pound title. So shout out to King's Promotions, because I believe this is their first world champion like that. So good for him as a promoter, right? So that's pretty powerful. And I know that Marshall Kaufman is celebrating and having a wonderful time with his amazing fighter, because they did a great job. That was for the vacant WBA interim title. And Rais Aleem was 18-0 with 12 KOs. He basically broke down Victor Pasillas, who is 16-1 with 9 KOs.
Right.
In round 11. And that fight took place at the Mohegan Sun Arena. And
right.
Yeah.
Well, my estimation of it, he had only gone 6 rounds previously. That was the longest that the Beast's opponent had gone, and he had just knocked out an undefeated fighter. So he was sky high as far as his work rate and his attitude, and he was feeling great. However, if you've never been those kind of rounds with a fighter like that, it's a different world. Also, he was a southpaw, and it's usually an advantage to be a southpaw, but against Aleem, it was not an advantage. He continued to get hit with that left hook.
Yeah.
And usually that's a fight. That's a punch, from what I know, you can get away from if you're a southpaw. But he continued to get hit with it, and when it went past the 6th round, when he kept getting hit with that punch, I kind of saw, the writing on the wall, but he was game the entire way. So I was very impressed with that. He went down, as you know, 3 times or what have you, and he got right up each time.
Well, so Aleem drops Pasillas with a hard right hand in round 2, and then basically battles, back and forth for the rest of that round 2. And then, Pasillas, he does get back into the fight, but was dropped again in round 6.
Yes.
Right. And big round for Aleem took place in round 7. Right. But this Pasillas bounced back. He comes back, and he had a pretty good round 8. I don't know if you remember that, but he had a pretty good round 8. And then the glove, Pasillas goes down. His glove touched the canvas in round 9 for his 3rd knockdown in the fight. And then of course the bout was waved off after Pasillas was dropped again in round 11. So, and that was like at about a minute into the fight. So, it was really a dominant performance for Aleem. Yeah, man. It was a great performance, and, hats off to him, because, he just basically, that just transformed his life.
Yes. Yeah. Financially and mentally, but his opponent, being an undefeated fighter and had never been defeated, you could see that will in him had to be taken out of him.
Oh, yeah.
He was knocked down several times, but he did not give in or relent at no time. You didn't see him broken. In any of the rounds he was losing, he was getting knocked down. He was not broken. Mentally, he may have lost that fight physically, but mentally he was not broken. I've seen fighters who are losing and there's 3 or 4 rounds left, and they're already broken, and they just go through it, and they're accepting that loss. This guy did not do that, and when the fight was over, he was still not mentally broke.
Yeah,
he just knows he lost the fight, and that to me is going to be a leg up for his next fight.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a warrior in the fight. He just kept getting up and kept fighting, and you wouldn't even really know. I mean, these are the kind of fights you have to be a little careful with because you don't see the damage. You're looking at a fighter that just keeps getting up and keeps going, and the doctors and the officials around the ring. This is where you really got to pay attention because who knows what damage is actually being done. It could be pretty significant. But let's talk about Aleem's style. Let's talk about the future, right? Like, what do you think of his style, Harold?
I've seen him before. I was impressed with him before. I can't say there's anything in particular that he does really extremely well. He's pretty well rounded. I would say that all aspects of his game is good. I like the way he delivers his left hook and that jab. He'll turn that jab into a hook in a blink of eye, and his ability to fight left-handed fighters is easily as that. There was, the heads stayed away from each other. The footing, the footwork between the two was clean, and that's because the right-hand fighter makes the adjustments to stay off the foot. So I was impressed with that, and he obviously has power. So he has charisma. If you remember the interview, he said Floyd said he didn't know who he was, but as he said, Floyd knows who I am now because I beat his fighter, and maybe I should get the bonus that he was going to give to my to my guy.
Oh
now,
man!
Actually, what I just said was completely incorrect, fans. I'm thinking about the last fight. So Aleem was in that category. Aleem won his fight, hoping to get signed up with Floyd. So forget what I said. I was talking about the fight after that. So I apologize, fans, because the performances of both those guys were so good. They just kind of morphed together just in that comment.
Yeah, well, the thing is right, the WBA on their rankings had Rais Aleem at number 2, right? So he's still got, I mean, look, in the division, if you look at the division, there's some names at the 122-pound super bantamweight, junior featherweight divisions that are like, I mean, these names, some of them are hard to pronounce, but you've got Louis Neary for the WBC. He holds the belt, right? You've got Muradujon Akalamadieva, right? And he's got the WBA and the IBF. And then in the WBO, you've got Angelo Leo, right? So you've got, that was before,
Leo's
the
fight that came after that.
That was just before. So these rankings were right before last night's, events. But my point is that you've got Daniel Roman, you've got Carlo Castro, you've got Michael Conlon, you've got Daniel Roman. I mean, there's a lot of really good fighters in that division. So it's going to be really interesting stylistically in terms of the way that he fights. So here's what I think about the fight. If I can share that with you and the listeners out there. I felt that Aleem has, first of all, he comes from a martial arts background. So he has really, really beautiful movement. His movement is fantastic. he's really not afraid to cross left and right, in the pocket, which is a very, very dangerous thing to do. And sometimes he pops his head up in the middle of the frame, like right when he's in the middle of action. And I'm a little concerned about that. Hopefully his trainers will correct that as he moves forward. But his punch combinations, his ability to punch in combination is really incredible. And the defense, he's got great defense. Otherwise, his feet save him. His head movement saves him. But there is this tendency to pop up in the middle that he can be timed there. And so that's something that hopefully they will correct as he continues to both retain the belt and perhaps grab a couple of other straps, But all in all, I feel his performance was obviously outstanding. But those issues do concern me. There's a couple other issues that I think need to be corrected. But all in all, he really put on a great show. I know the folks at Showtime and PBC are incredibly excited and just grateful for the kind of performance that he put on last night. All three of the champions, all three of the bouts were outstanding for the network. And then last, here we go. We're going to save the best for last in terms of talking about that particular card. But let's break down the Stephen Fulton decision over Angelo Leo in what I consider an all-action fight. And Stephen Fulton comes out to win the WBO title. Like, that fight to me, Harold, was absolutely incredible. And I will tell you something. I have a tendency to fall asleep during fights, right? So like if the fight isn't action packed, like my eyes will droop. I don't know if y'all out there, I'm just being really, really transparent with everybody. Sometimes I'll just, dip into a modified REM where I can hear everything that's going on, but I'm not really watching, right? This fight had me glued. I wanted to go to sleep, but I couldn't because it was so action-packed. That's what I got to say. How about you, Harold?
Mark, I was watching the fourth round. It was action-packed, but I got sleepy, and I was no way I was going to not watch it. So I paused it for about 15 minutes, took a quick little nap, and turned it back on. I got behind, but I had to watch that fight. I just had to. I had a long day, and I couldn't drink enough Red Bull that day. So yesterday. So I watched that fight. So I understand how you feel about that. And going with your point, because I have several good points concerning this fight. It was something to talk about.
I mean, without taking sides on which fighter I felt performed better, I mean, because I will get to that, but I definitely it was a gritty fight. It was a tough fight. There was a lot of blood in the early on in the fight. And basically unbeaten Steven, he was, how can I say this? He really outworked the entire fight. He just took Leo and outworked him. And Steve Fulton is 19-0 with 8 KOs going into the fight. And Leo was 20-1 with 9 KOs, and basically comes out with a 12-round unanimous decision.
Yes.
To win the fight. And what I like the most about the fight, which I'm sure you're going to chop up in just 1 second, is that the fight took place in a phone booth, which is unstereotypical, not typically the way Fulton fights, but I think he had some sort of game plan coming into the fight where he really wanted to demonstrate that he could beat Leo at his own game. And I think that was the thing that was most impressive for me in the fight.
Yes, you are stepping all of my points.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Talk to me, Harold.
Okay. This fight reminded me of what Floyd Mayweather did with Cotto. He allowed Cotto to come in at the weight he wanted to come in at, and he beat Cotto at his own game. This is exactly what Fulton did. Leo is this vaulted body puncher. His father taught him to go to the body. If you watch any of Leo's fights, he takes the body away from you. That is his thing. He knows how to get in there and stay in there and be productive. Fulton came, as you said, and took that from him by beating him with his own game. But he added the uppercut. As you know, a body puncher, he's going in low. He's got that chin tuck. He's going for the body. Fulton was timing him, coming in, hit him with the uppercut. Also, he was working the body extremely well. Now, Fulton just simply, to me, was just determined to stay on the inside. If you remember, one part, his trainer said, "We would like you to box him." And he said, "No, I don't." And he continued that inside assault. So for him to do that and take away that other man's bread and butter and just dominate him at his game is really impressive. Because any other fighter who's going to fight him, they know that Cool Boy Steph, which is his nickname, can box. We know this from the outside. There's no doubt about that. The jab, the movement, that's something that's very clear. But he showed a complete different element in this fight with a tough inside fighter who is known to be that. So if I'm another fighter or a promoter and I'm looking to work to fight Steph, I'm going to be cautious because I didn't know he had that inside game. The whole world knows he has an inside game now, and that elevates him so much higher, in my opinion. Right. Now, to me, he won every round except one. Every round he won except one. That was it. Because he simply dominated all the situations that the eye could see. So if I was judging that fight, and a colleague of mine was judging that fight, who I know very well, and we worked fights together, he had basically the same card that I had. I mean, same scores that I had. So I was just impressed. As you said, he stepped in there and beat that man at his own game, but he added that uppercut to the good inside work he was doing.
No, absolutely. And just to your point, for y'all that are listening out there, you probably are going to want to know who were the judges. So the judges were Frank Lombardi. Frank Lombardi scored the bout 119 to 109, and John McHale scored the bout 119 to 109, and Steve Weisfeld scored the bout 118 to 110. So how about that, Harold?
Yes. And I was speaking of Mr. Weisfeld.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I kind of figured that because it sounded like your score was just in line with his. Yes. But I just thought, you were talking about the uppercut. It was so short, and the way that Fulton placed his head, and V-bobbed back and forth against Leo's head, the way that they worked in there was just beautiful, both of them. I don't know that there were that many times where the referee, David Fields, needed to jump in and break them. There weren't that many times. I mean, the clinches were very mild clinches, and there were times where they just kind of pushed off one another and just got back to work. They really, these two fighters, first of all, are really matched beautifully with one another. So whoever did the matchmaking for this, thanks to PBC for putting that fight together, because that's what the boxing fans really want to see, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Now, Leo was no slouch. He hit and scored very well. It just didn't move him. I believe one body punch actually moved
Fulton.
Cool Boy Steph. I love that nickname.
Yeah.
Moved him one time where he kind of was affected, and his movement was stopped.
Right.
But other than that, he took everything, but it was some really great work done by Leo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Leo is definitely a killer. He's a fantastic fighter, and he put up a great fight. It was a beautiful showing for him. I don't think he could go back to the gym and hold his head up super high because he put on an outstanding performance. But as you say, I think the skill sets and the plan, Fulton just seemed to have a way to be in there when he wanted to and be out when he wanted to. And there were times where he was in and he would slide out and then catch Leo as Leo was trying to come in. He'd catch him right there at the mark. He'd hit him with a couple of shots and he'd drop right back in and go right back to that body work and the uppercuts, as you mentioned earlier. So it was an outstanding performance for folks. If you didn't see that fight, this is my suggestion, go find it on YouTube or wherever you're going to find it and watch it because it was a great fight.
It was. I agree with you totally. Boxing purists, as a lot of our fans are, and even the ones who like other sports but appreciate boxing, that will keep your attention from round one to the end.
Yes, it will. You are 100% right, man. And so let's touch on another topic. Are you ready to jump over to another topic here?
Yes.
All right, check this out. So while we're watching these fights, Conor McGregor fought a guy by the name of Dustin Poirier, and he fought him in the Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, right? He fought him over there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. And big news, Conor McGregor lost. Not only did he lose the fight, but he pretty much mucked up, he crapped all over it. He made a crap sandwich all over the Pacquiao fight, right? So there were talks about a Pacquiao fight, Paul fight. Somebody was going to fight, right? And it was about $50 million on the line there for that. And so he lost last night, man. It's like, so Pacquiao, the real news is that where does Pacquiao go now?
Well, I've got something for Pacquiao. First of all, I want to step back. Conor was knocked out 2 rounds.
Wow.
So his punch resistance is limited.
Yeah.
Now, the scuttlebutt, Mark, hold on to your hat. The scuttlebutt, some of the information that's floating around in the boxing circles is Pacquiao versus, drum roll please, Garcia.
Yeah, I was going to give you a drum roll, bro.
Oh.
That's all right. That's cool. So say that again for the fans.
Garcia.
What the heck? Is Garcia nuts?
Because of the fiscal situation that was lost by Conor being knocked out, Garcia is on social media saying his next fight will not be with Tank, it will be with Pacquiao. Now, the thought is this. When Alvarez fought Floyd, he got a pass if he lost.
Right.
The thought here is Garcia will get a pass if he loses. He'll be immortal if he wins.
Wow.
Win-win. Now, the powers at B have not commented, as in his promoter, as in the networks. He's the one saying this on his social media that is what's going to happen. So there's going to be a lot of dialogue on this on tomorrow as we are putting this together on Sunday evening.
Yeah. Yo, listen, it just lets you know how, rags to riches, riches to rags, man. Conor McGregor got a reported $5 million to fight this guy, Dustin Poitier. Right? He got $5 million for that fight. Now, I don't understand. Why do you think he would have taken $5 million for the fight when he could have got $50 million to fight Jake Paul? Why did he do that?
I have a thought, which is just my thought off the cuff.
Tell me.
Dana White and McGregor have obligations to each other.
Okay.
And certain obligations have to be met. As in, go to another subject quickly, Alvarez has to fight his mandatory to keep the belt so he can fight the champion of that particular organization.
Right.
He has no choice.
Right.
So he will do that so he can accomplish his goal.
Right.
I see that same scenario here in that Dana White requires him to fight under that banner because of prior obligations that we may not know about.
Wow.
It was a huge thing. I was at a basketball game on yesterday, and everyone was clamoring, trying to get out of there, let their kids play the basketball, be done with it so they can get somewhere and watch that fight.
Wow.
So we don't know what the pay-per-view numbers were. We don't know any of that. But he was obligated, I think, to do that. And that was just, the payday that occurred.
Wow. Well, so check this out. Let me just break it down here. This is the way I'm looking at it because this is what's coming off the wire, right? So You've got $50 million on the line with Jake Paul, right? This is all about money, isn't it? Right. So then he loses the fight. He actually gets $5 million to fight Dustin Poitier and gets knocked out. Now that $50 million is off the table. Reportedly, you've got Jake Paul being quoted as saying that if he gets $10,000 for the fight, it'll be a lot. So I'm just flabbergasted by that.
Well, that was Jake Paul's opinion. That $10,000.
Right.
Well, Jake Paul, I respect him coming from another genre and attempting to step into our area, and he's been somewhat successful. As far as purses are concerned, he's not aware of what McGregor has done in the past to garner certain paydays.
Right.
And if he respected that, understood that, that may have not been his comment.
Right. Man,
That's all I have to say about that.
I don't even know where how do these guys that don't even box? I mean, I don't want to go on a tangent here, but these guys are YouTubers, man. They don't even fight. They're not they can fight a little bit, but they're not real. They're not, man, they're not, come on. They're not killers. How do they get $50 million to fight? What is going on?
Well, as you know, they tap into a whole nother market that is going to tune in to see them fight, skills or no skills, because they're simply following them.
Right.
Now, the only advantage I see of the YouTube people, of the Jake Paul people, and all the people who are who follow these two guys, when they see a fight, they may enjoy it just because they're following him. But as this crowd matures and gets older, they're going to be looking for the real thing, real boxing.
Right.
Because the Jake Pauls of the world will fall off, because eventually they'll get, if in fact they become decent fighters, they're going to run across real fighters that will expose them. And after they've been exposed on that level of just looking amateurish against some of these guys who are real fighters, that particular fan base is going to be 10 years older.
Right.
And they'll be looking for real boxing. And the ones who mature past this, boxing can stand to get a lot of new fans.
No, I get
Yeah.
your point. I get your point. But you know what? Like, come on, man. This is crazy. You know what? So I was just talking. I was hoping that my partner, Coach D, was going to get on the call, right? I was hoping he was going to join us on the boxing breakdown tonight, but apparently he got tied up. He's probably, training right now. He's probably in the gym. The guy is in the gym every day, right? So he's probably in the gym. Whatever he's doing, right? But here's the thing. We were just talking about this, Harold. We were just talking about the days of old when promoters promoted and fighters fought. What has happened, Harold? Fighters used to be, their job was to fight. And the job of a promoter was to promote. Now today, the job of a promoter is to be an event planner. And the job of a fighter is to promote. Like, what? Do you get that?
Yes.
Well, am I accurate in that statement?
I believe so. Yes, I agree with that.
Like what is going on? Like, promoters, their job is to promote fights and fighters. And the job of a fighter is to do what?
Fight.
Okay. So I'm not going crazy, right? I mean, like, did Ali have a YouTube account? Did Muhammad Ali have a YouTube account? Question.
No, he had Howard Cosell.
Right. Okay. But he didn't have a YouTube account, right? Did
No.
Roberto Duran have like 50 million followers on Twitter?
No.
Okay. Did Sugar Ray Leonard have an Instagram account?
No, he did not.
Okay. So what's going on? What's happened? I don't understand. Help me understand. Break it down, Harold.
Okay. In the age, this is my opinion quickly, as in the age that we live, everyone wants to be on stage. It's a way to boost your self-esteem. And everyone needs someone they think that can identify with. And they want to know their every move. So when you have a personality, as the two Jake brothers do, and you put yourself out there and you do mundane, just things that are just off the cuff, it captures this generation's imagination. And they're going to follow just to see when these guys brush their teeth. Now, once you get popular like that, everyone wants to follow you. Now, that has translated into millions of dollars for these guys and guys like them. If you remember correctly, Floyd Mayweather, he went ahead and had Justin Bieber in his corner and befriended him for that situation to get that particular crowd to follow him and the singer. So I see these guys bringing, as you said, it's about the money. So they're going to do this, and people are going to tune in, and they're going to pay to see it. They're just going to pay to see it because that's who they're following. Now, of course, Ali didn't have that, of course, but he had other things to promote himself. They're very similar in the fact Cosell was a vocal person all across the media. Ali did ride Cosell to fame. They both rode each other to fame. Okay? Leonard, he had charisma. He was on all of the commercials. And the Olympics showed the world who he was. Floyd, obviously, we know what he did. He used his celebrity, his negative side and positive side to get where he got.
Yeah.
So I just see it as an offshoot of all of those things that these guys have. But the skill level is simply not there, but it will be exposed. Appearance at yourself, you can be offended. I get it.
No, it's not that I'm offended. It's that as a businessman, okay, as a businessman that runs several businesses, right? This is what I know, okay, Harold?
Yes.
Number one, Jake Paul, every one of those people that you mentioned before actually did something profound for their career before they got the notoriety. Howard Cosell didn't come after Ali until he, achieved a certain level of success. Wheaties didn't put Sugar Ray Leonard on the box until he, won the Olympics, et cetera, et cetera. So these guys actually achieved a certain level of success in boxing, from fighting prior to that level of notoriety. Whereas Jake Paul is a YouTuber. What has he done? He hasn't fought. He's not an athlete. So that's my point there. But here,
right,
as a businessman, here's my point, right? Like, I hire people, right? So when I hire people, we have job descriptions. Those job descriptions outline what you do, right? So I got a marketing person, right? The marketing person, what does the marketing person do? The marketing person does marketing, right? I have, athletes. What do? They do, they're athletes. They perform athletic feats, right? What is an accountant? You hire an accountant. What does an accountant do? An accountant does accounting. So why is it that when we work with independent contractors and they're fighters and they're being hired to fight, they're independent contractors, they're not employees, they're independent contractors hired to fight. Okay?
Yes.
Why is it that they're not fighting and that they spend 90% of their time promoting? And if they don't, right? If they're not able to, if they're a fighter from the inner city who's absolutely outstanding, but doesn't have a fan base, they go nowhere. Right? Because they can't promote themselves. They're not promoters. They're actually fighters. So I'm not understanding this any longer. It's come to me in several moments recently in the last year or so where I'm saying to myself, where are all the great promoters that know how to promote fights, right? Where are the great, marketing and public relations individuals that know how to do marketing and public relations for athletes? And why are athletes not being able to focus on being athletes? I'm just asking the question. I'm putting it out there. If y'all have something you want to say to me, or if there's, if you'd like to add some color to this conversation, I just want to let you know, you can basically share. Well, first of all, you can share this podcast. You can download it. You can find it on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and you can simply speak into your Alexa app and say, Alexa, play the Boxing Breakdown, and you're good, right? So that's all you got to do, right? So you can listen to the program or share it with your friends and ask the same question I'm asking you, right? Why are fighters not fighting and promoters promoting? You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can find us on YouTube, and you can also find us on our website at RoxySportsEntertainment.com/theboxingbreakdown, or on any of those social platforms at The Boxing Breakdown. And if you'd like to join us on the Boxing Breakdown podcast, and you have something you'd want to share, or you'd like to become an advertiser, you can also email us at RoxySportsEntertainment@gmail.com. And by the way, let's celebrate, because this is our 26th episode. So give it up to the 26th episode of the Boxing Breakdown. And
Great.
Right. Exactly. So, I want to know from you guys out there that are listening, what do you think about what I said? And what's your opinion? And do you agree that promoters should promote and fighters should fight? Right? Like where is the line drawn? Now, being a promoter, you're going to ask your fighters to come to all kinds of events, and set up a calendar of activities. But in the end, I just want to know. I want to open up the dialogue and see what people think. And I love your color on that, Harold. But my opinion is, promoters should do what they do best, which is promote events and promote fighters, especially if those fighters are signed. If you've got a fighter you signed the fighter, then promote the fighter, right? Because these athletes need some serious support, and we need to bring boxing to the next level. You can't have fighters who don't know anything about promoting. Now, there are these amazing pockets of genius, like Ryan Garcia, who's, he's got a team of people who do just that for him, right? But not every fighter's got that. And we gotta figure out a way, because it's slowing us down, man. It's slowing the sport down when you're expecting fighters to, sell, 10,000 tickets to a fight. How are they going to be training? What are they doing? What are they supposed to do? There's got to be some balance there. Don't you agree?
Yes. However, Ryan does have the Jake Paul phenomenon behind him.
Yeah,
because he did garner that fan base without those marketing people you spoke of.
Yeah.
He got those later.
Yeah.
But he is a fighter, and he proved to be a fighter. He's proven to be a fighter.
Whoa.
But he did take advantage of that social media market also by his popularity.
Yeah. I don't believe a fighter can prove that they're a fighter in one fight. Okay. I think you gotta have a resume, man. You gotta build a resume of fights, right? So let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens in the 130-pound weight class, because that's what you're talking about, right? You're making a comment that Ryan Garcia is a great fighter, right?
No, I'm saying that he is a fighter. He is a fighter.
All right.
Meaning that he has a discipline. He trains. He is a fighter. He does get between those ropes. So I respect anyone who does that. He is a fighter.
Right.
It's not a pastime like the Jake Paul people and that type of thing. The NBA players,
right,
that are trying to get in there now.
Yeah. So when he starts facing Devin Haney and Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis, and of course the belle of the ball, the cream of the crop, the shout out to Brooklyn, Teofimo Lopez, and people like Vasily Lomachenko, and he's gone through that. Rolando Romero, who's now up in that thing, Jorge Linares, Robert Easter. These guys are Masayoshi Nakatani. Let's see you fight these guys, okay? Because these are the guys that I want to see. I want to see the showdowns between. There's a lot of talent in that 135 division, man. That 135 is Felix Verdejo is up in there. There's some great fighters, man. And sorry if I didn't, shout out your name, but if you're in the 135-pound division, you already know, man, that is such a great division. And I know a lot of people love the 147 division with Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter. Shout out Sean Porter.
Keith Thurman.
Eugenius Ugas. Virgil Ortiz, Mikey Garcia, Sergey Lipinets, Jamal James, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. That's a good division as well. Coming up in that division, you got guys like Jaron Ennis, you got Maurice Hooker, Rashid Ellis. There's some great fighters in that division as well. But I'm thinking that the 147 division is great, but to me, the money's in the 135. There's a lot happening in the 135, and I just think the boxing fans are going to have a good time this year, man. It's just going to be a great year, right?
Yes, yes. And just to throw this in, there will be a all-woman pay-per-view card this year, headed by Clarissa Shields, going for another belt.
Okay.
And two other major female fights. I think one of them is a title fight.
Okay.
But that is great for the state of boxing, because obviously the boxing public or the boxing executives see a opportunity for all female pay-per-view card to be successful.
Yeah.
So that is really great to see.
Well, who do you think? Do you have any idea of the other fighters on the card? Because you mentioned Clarissa Shields, but the fight that I really want to see is Katie Taylor. I want to see Katie Taylor against anybody really, but I'd love to see Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. I mean, that fight should have happened a long time ago. I don't know what they're doing.
If I remember correctly, I don't believe those ladies are on there, but just the fact that this is going to happen means those fights that you just spoke of have a great opportunity to be involved in that going forward.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's some great women fighters out there. Of course, I'd love to shout out Britton Hart, who's getting ready to face off in the bare knuckle. Shout out bare knuckle against Paige Van Sant. And full disclosure, I do train Britton Hart. I'm not training her right now leading up into this fight with Paige Van Sant. I love you, Britton Hart. I hope you're able to dominate this fight. I know that you have what it takes to win, and I know you have the key to win, and I am expecting that you come out victorious on February 5th at the Bare Knuckle in Tampa, Florida. You are going to dominate, and much love to you. Paige Van Sant, shout out. Hope you have a great fight as well, and may the best woman win, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be great to see, a full, I mean, they should have a women fighting all the time. I don't know why they don't. The women are unique and special in their skill sets. And quite honestly, if you like, tactical fighting, oftentimes the women are able to put together, beautiful displays of technique, including Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. Man, I just need to see those two fight. They're just as good as any of the men out there, so bring it. So
the state of boxing, in my opinion, is on the upswing. I believe that the market share that was grabbed by boxing due to COVID-19 is our market share to stay. Because there's been fights on during football games and basketball games, and the numbers still are good.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're absolutely right. So, Harold, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on and really just chopping things up for the Boxing Breakdown fans. I know they love to listen to you. They're chatting it up. They're sending me all kinds of messages saying how much they love having you on the program as well. So you're my boy. It's a delight to have you on the program, man, brother. I'm looking forward to the January 30th fight between Caleb Plant and Caleb Truex. That sounds like it's going to be a great card, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. There's a lineup, man. January 29th, January 30th, February 6th, February 13th. Oh, man, there's so much boxing. February and March are lit, bro. They are lit. So with that, I just... Again, Harold, I just want to thank you so much for being on the program and for I'd like to thank all the listeners for being with us. And with that, we are out.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.